We are shifting you now to more international news, this time in the UK, where as the US President was greeted with pomp and pageantry by British royals, this is at Windsor Castle, it seems much of the UK public was rolling out a very different kind of welcome. Protests, sharp disapproval and seeming satire. We'll bring you more details around this. We're going to bring you what the visual has been like on British streets, where thousands of protesters have been gathering over this visit. Let's go over to our colleague Sanjay Suri to understand more. Sanjay, just tell us exactly what you've observed in the last few hours around this visit, please.
Well, to begin with, Trump is not particularly popular in Britain. He never has been, and people like to make their views on him known, and they've come out on the streets and have been doing so and will continue to do so as long as he stays in Britain. In fact, this began before Trump turned up in Britain. We saw these projections made onto the ramparts of Windsor Castle, and they showed Trump in close proximity with Epstein, the sex offender. So that is now a continuing issue. There have been issues, and this is a very, very thorny issue in the US. The extent to which Trump and Epstein were close, what kind of experiences they shared, this is now an extremely controversial matter, and people in Britain have made that projection onto Windsor Castle to make the point that while he is feted royally within the castle, this they believe is the truth about him that also needs to be projected in every sense. This is certain to continue also on Thursday, and when Trump is due to meet British Prime Minister Starmer. That meeting is happening away from London, away from the protesting crowds. It will be held at the PM's countryside retreat in Chequers. So to an extent, Trump is being physically insulated from these protests, but of course the protests are continuing and they are very passionate.
Okay, so his historic second state visit, but as you're pointing out, we're seeing thousands of protesters gather. Can you also tell us, Sanjay, could you reflect on recent polls and what they show about Trump's popularity in the UK?
Well, we should speak of his unpopularity. Apparently, a recent poll indicated that as many as 61% of British people do not like Trump. And that only reflects what is also happening in the US. His popularity within the US, which of course would be of far more interest to him, has fallen since January when he took over as president. Trump seems to be particularly popular nowhere. Primarily, it would seem he is popular with himself. He speaks in the most adulatory tones about himself a great deal, but the rest of the world clearly does not. This visit to Britain underlines what the British think of him, which is not a lot really.
All right, thank you for bringing us those details, Sanjay. Sanjay, can we ask you to stay with us? Our next story, we come to you once again.